There's a real chance Ceedee Lamb tries to initiate some sort of holdout, an attempt of a holdout, a posturing, if you will, in order to try and get, let me get this Derrick Henry graphic off, in order to get some sort of, movement on an extension. There was a TMZ report soon after this report, and this report reads, a holdout could be arriving for Cowboys wide receiver Ceedee Lamb, who isn't expected to attend the team's OTAs per Dallas News. Right after this report surfaced, another report surfaced where Ceedee Lamb was interviewed. Chris Carter walked right up to him right in the middle of a question where Lamb was asked, are you going to be in Dallas? And Chris Carter walked up and they started dabbing up and they started talking. And then the reporter from TMZ is like, are you going to be in Dallas? And he goes, yeah. And he walked away. So then there was another report saying Lamb isn't going to hold out. He guarantees he'll be in Dallas. That was not a guarantee. That was him answering a question. Will he be in Dallas? Yeah. Will he be holding out? Maybe, maybe not. And again, players have a certain amount of leverage by not showing up, creating a stink. Dallas needs to get in a groove. They can't afford to pay Lamb, maybe, in their mindset, right? And they don't necessarily want to attack that right now. Jerry Jones is very much in now mode, in 2024 mode. So it's really unclear how this is going to work. And I don't know how much Lamb wants to get extended without Dak Prescott being extended, because who's going to throw him the football? But maybe he's not even worried or concerned about that. But it's crazy. The ramifications of this to an Aiyuk deal are huge. The ramifications of this to a JJ deal are huge. So much is going to hinge on those two deals in terms of like whether Higgins can even possibly get a deal done before the start of the year, or Aiyuk could get a deal done before the start of the year. JJ and Lamb and JJ, Aiyuk, Higgins, they're all kind of connected together. The Fantasy Football Show begins now.
Live from the FantasyFootballShow.com studios.
It's the Fantasy Football Show. Live!
Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Smitty is also live whenever news breaks.
From the FantasyFootballShow.com news desk, here is your breaking news.
So much of this stuff is connected. It's like you got to think of it like a spider web. Okay, it's like a spider web that is kind of all over the entire situation from the top down. JJ being at the top of the web. JJ being whether a deal ends up happening with JJ affects whether a deal ends up happening with Lamb. That affects whether Aiyuk is going to get more money than he expected. And no one's saying JJ's deal has anything to do with Aiyuk's number necessarily, right? No one's expecting them to be close, but if JJ or Lamb get some huge, massive number, that's going to affect Aiyuk's mindset. Aiyuk is going to raise his price like a web. If, again, JJ and Lamb are at the top and this web is hanging down and it's touching the contracts and the mindsets of the players below, Aiyuk and Higgins, and JJ and Lamb get pulled up, their contracts go into the massive amounts of guaranteed money. Aiyuk and Higgins, their mindset, their price tag will be pulled up slightly by that web. It's all interconnected. This would be crazy. This would be crazy if Lamb and JJ both got extensions or one of them before Aiyuk, because it's gonna change the game. It's gonna change the landscape. We are very close to the NFL draft, and we are very, very close to the point where if Aiyuk is going to request a trade, he's going to have to request it to get the ball rolling, the leverage moving. Because once these landing spots are off the table, once these teams have wide receivers, all of these vacant wide receiver rooms, once the wide receiver rooms are buttoned up, then you aren't going to have any potential opportunity at all whatsoever to use the trade card in negotiation. But will Lamb get a big fat bag? What will his number look like? How will it affect JJ? How will JJ affect Lamb? Who's going to go first? Will it be one of the other two wide receivers? It'll be very, very interesting how this plays out. It'll be very interesting how the other wide receivers react to any one of these other deals that come through. But interesting development here in Dallas. Dallas is kind of in shambles right now. Dallas is kind of in a position where they don't have an identity right now. They don't know who their future quarterback is because they won't extend Dak Prescott. They don't know what's in store for Ceedee Lamb in terms of who's throwing the football in the future years. There's a lot of talk about some sort of quarterback change in 2025 already. Dak Prescott not getting his contract extension. McCarthy not getting extended. Both those guys are tied to the hip walking into the season. The pressure is going to be on them. Trey Lance is kind of hungry behind Dak. I'm not saying that Trey's going to unseat him, but it is a unique situation. I think Dak is going to fail and falter if he gets in his own head, and there's a real good chance that he lets this situation, especially the fact that he's been failing at the end of the day, and he needs a running back. He needs somebody to help balance out this offense. So what do the Dallas Cowboys do? The we're focused on winning in 2024. We need to get something done now. What do the Dallas Cowboys do? Nothing. Dowdle. Ricky Dowdle. I Dowdle he'll ever work out is what I Dowdle. And they bring in nobody. They may bring in Zeke Elliott. They may draft a rookie. There's no doubt about that. But will they do that? Where are they going to do that in the draft? Not at 24 overall. That's too early. So they do wait until the next round. Do they get their guy? Do they draft the right rookie running back? This is already thought to be a pretty weak running back class. Will they take Jonathan Brooks and bring in Zeke Elliott so Jonathan Brooks, who is recovering from an ACL tear, can kind of come along? Will they bring in my favorite Jalen Wright, who would be a monster in Dallas, a Braylon Allen, who would be a monster in Dallas, or do they fold under the pressure of Blake Corum and think Blake Corum's some sort of NFL running back, which I love the guy. He's got heart of gold. He's absolutely tenacious. He's a hard worker. He's got grit, amazing attitude, amazing player, amazing person. Blake Corum is a dude. I just want everybody to understand that, but I don't think he's going to translate at the NFL level. So it's going to be absolutely crazy to see all of this unfold. Jerry toying with his fan base, absolutely. Jerry acting like he wants to win. He comes out of this embarrassing playoff loss down here at the bottom right of your screen, not advancing anywhere in this beautiful bracket you see here, and exits this embarrassing playoff loss with a attitude on him as if he's going to do something, as if he's going to start handing out blank checks, as if he opened his checkbook when he was walking away, as if he was going to shake up everything. He's like, I'll do whatever it takes, is the attitude Jerry had. Now Dak walks into a 2024 season without a running back, when this was the most likely to, some say the best running back free agent pool in the history of the last, 10, 15 years. There's never been a running back free agent pool that's been better. And Derrick Henry and Barkley and Jacobs weren't even a consideration for the Dallas Cowboys. And I don't want to hear about the cap, because the cap is cap. The cap is not real. To a degree, you can manipulate the hell out of it. We're talking about running back money, which is like kicker money. Don't bring contracts or salary cap into it. Dallas couldn't afford it. Believe me, they can maneuver around enough money for a Derrick Henry, a Barkley, or a Jacobs. I don't even want to hear it. It's the dumbest argument in the world. I don't care how much cap space they don't have. You can maneuver one contract reconstruction. This is a fabrication business. You can manipulate and move that cap around like you can't believe. Just case in point, look at what happened with Diggs. Diggs can't be traded. The dead cap is too crazy. What team's going to bring that contract into their room? Look what the Texans did. Nobody can say anything about contracts ever again, because there are certain unwritten rules that still exist in the NFL where you can change these deals, and you can take away 3 years on a contract if both parties are mutually in agreement, and Diggs is now in a 1-year deal. So don't give me the cap issues. Oh, the Dallas Cowboys wouldn't have been able to bring in Derrick Henry or even an Austin Eckler. You could say he's washed, but what? You got Dowdle, pal. You got Dowdle running the football for your Dallas Cowboys. Eckler would have been a better gamble. Eckler costed peanuts. You could have easily got that done. That money's nothing. That's like moving around. That's like adding another concession stand. Like, what are we talking about? We're talking about kicker money. Eckler's making kicker money. So, cap is cap. Cap is cap. Send Ceedee to Pittsburgh. Why does everybody think Pittsburgh's getting everybody? Ceedee Lamb. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the impact of Brandon Aiyuk, the impact of T. Higgins. We're going to talk about the impact of JJ on the Lamb or Lamb on the JJ deal. Could there be something crazy that happens in Dallas? A lot of people saying, what if Dak ended up in Las Vegas? They don't want to extend him. What if the Raiders were tempted to draft a new quarterback right now and trade Dak Prescott in some sort of deal? I mean, before anybody says something like, hey, that's ridiculous, that's crazy, and I'm not saying it's a likely thing to happen. We kick around theories and concepts all the time on here. If you don't like that, you might not want to watch the offseason because it's full of smoke, it's full of innuendos, it's full of crazy fake news that sometimes we got to come in here, break and shoot down and say this breaking news is nothing but rumor, don't listen to it. But you got to wonder if Dak he's so much, you know, he has a no trade clause, he has a no tag clause, so he'd have to prove stuff, but Dak Prescott may not want to be there anymore. You got to wonder if the pressure, he doesn't want the pressure. Does he want a clean slate? Does Dak want to go to Las Vegas? I would, if I was him. I'd want out of that situation. Jerry Jones has proved to you he doesn't want to win. Jerry Jones proved to you he won't spend the money to get this team over the hump. Dak knows he can't get over the hump without that running attack or something. Something's got to give. So it would be insane if Dak got traded. The Vikings would be a fantastic situation. And for anybody that thinks this can't happen because you haven't heard it, anybody that thinks Aiyuk can't be traded because you don't want him to be traded, you might want to come back after the offseason. I don't think the offseason's for you because there are bumps in the road. There are all kinds of crazy stuff that happens every single offseason. No one thought Tyreek Hill was getting traded, not in a million years. No one thought that Diggs was going to get traded, but us, but me, but your boy that came in here, even creating videos as early as midseason or early part of last year saying Diggs is going to get moved. This diva's going to get traded. Smitty, he can't be traded, Smitty. His dead cap is through the roof. This is ridiculous, Smitty. You don't know numbers or the cap. I don't. Anybody that says that the cap's a problem for bringing in an RB doesn't know numbers or the cap. Because the cap is cap. The cap is cap.
That is cap.
Lamb getting traded, it's probably not going to happen. But, I mean, people want to kick it around. You can kick it around. You can call in. We can definitely have a discussion around, you know, what would be the most likely solid situation or most likely situation to happen. Phone lines are open if anybody wants to dial in. Dak being traded is more likely than Lamb being traded, okay? Dallas may be sitting here going, can we even win? Can we even win? Jerry didn't make any sort of attempt this offseason to try and win. He just didn't. Is Allen still my Dynasty QB1? He's certainly right up there with the 1-2. It's Mahomes. It's you know, Josh Allen probably 1-2. Yeah. Stroud's right there at 3-4. But I'm not going to put Stroud above Mahomes or Allen. I know everybody's excited about what's going on, but the addition of Diggs in Dynasty adds, 1 year of value? So if Stroud wasn't your QB 1 or 2 in Dynasty before the Diggs trade shouldn't have been the thing that pushed him into the top 1 to 2. So it didn't move him for me. He's still in the 3-4 territory. I still think you can make arguments for Joe Burrow, Jalen Hurts, right in that zone. Anthony Richardson in fantasy is still a top 5-6 quarterback threat at any moment. Football is a little different for Rich. He's one of those guys that can have a cup of coffee and dance in the top 5 or 6 fantasy quarterbacks, but is one that's more of the 6 to 10 variety in NFL quarterbacks. He's still got a lot to learn. He's still got a lot to take in. So, Anthony Richardson later, but it's funny that people think Josh Allen. I love having the debate with people. Like when someone comes in here and says something like Brock Purdy's better than Josh Allen, or Josh Allen's not a top 5 quarterback. That's hilarious. In NFL terms, not fantasy, in NFL terms. Josh Allen's not a top 5 quarterback. Losing Diggs, watch Josh Allen fall into the abyss of normalcy. Unbelievable. Some of the words coming out of people's mouth is absolutely insane. It's like the things people will say. The things people will say about Josh Allen is ridiculous. Not to mention what the Bills are about to do. I played this last night. This is a clip from JD5, who kept hinting over and over and over last night. Kept hinting over and over last night that Brian Thomas Jr. may end up being, at the end of the day, may end up shaking hands with Josh Allen. And JD5 kept hinting the whole entire IG live stream between JD5 Neighbors and Brian Thomas Jr. BT. BT kept getting shoved into the Buffalo Bill conversation, and he kept laughing. BT was sleeping. Brian Thomas Jr. was sleeping, so he had a black screen up. He kept showing the ceiling. But Neighbors and Jayden Daniels were just going at him left and right. The banter between these guys, they're like a brother. They're 3 brothers. They're like best friends. And Jayden Daniels kept saying, "What are you going to do when you catch a touchdown from Josh Allen? Hey, how's it feel to know you're going to shake Josh Allen's hand on draft day?" Kept prodding about it. And then BT, Brian Thomas Jr., said, "I got to get up in the morning. They're picking me up, taking me to New York." They said, "The Jets?" And he goes, "No, I already visited the Jets." "Oh, which New York?" And they kept talking about it, and he wouldn't say. I'm just saying, the way Jayden Daniels was going at him, it was as if Jayden had a little bit of information about it. And here's that BT Brian Thomas Jr. to Buffalo conversation that Jayden Daniels, Brian Thomas Jr. and Malik Neighbors had last night on Instagram.
Jayden Daniels, Malik Neighbors, Brian Thomas via Instagram Live. Daniels says one of them is going to the Bills. Malik, his BT celebration will be shaking hands with Josh Allen.
Woo!
We just on here having fun. We just
wide receiver Malik Neighbors responds to the rumors that he is high maintenance on IG Live. They gotta pick somebody in this draft. I guess they just picked me.
So just so you know, what had happened in that sequence is that he was reading Twitter because Twitter was catching fire while they were live. They go, "Let's search Twitter, see if we're trending right now." And he was reading off what he had already said. So that wasn't him reading off someone else's statement. He was reading off what he said on that exact live stream earlier in the live stream. So they were laughing that they were trending on Twitter because he kept mentioning the Buffalo Bills. Then they talked about, "Hey, you're a diva," according to the news, and Neighbors was laughing and blew that off. And just said, yeah. I guess they got to pick on somebody, so they're picking on me. So that was cool to see Malik Neighbors handle that situation in a cool, calm, collective way. We broke that the other day where we said, and take it with a grain of salt, we said that the reports were that the diva, potentially the guy that would have trouble getting drafted into a big city, would be Malik Neighbors. And, a lot of assumptions being made. That was one draft analysis scouts take on Malik Neighbors, which is kind of unfair, and they kind of laughed it off and shrugged it off, which was cool to see Neighbors do. But JD5 kept saying it so much last night about Buffalo and Brian Thomas Jr., who, by the way, Brian Thomas Jr. is not falling to number 28 overall. He's just not. So the whole thing is, in order to get Brian Thomas Jr. or Malik Neighbors or Odunze, Buffalo's trading up into maybe this 13-19 territory. Who knows where Brian Thomas Jr. could fall? He could go as high as 11 or 12. He could fall as low as 17, 18, 19, 20. It really is tough to imagine where Brian Thomas Jr. goes at this point because everything's a trigger effect, right? Where does MHJ go? He goes 4, it changes things. The receivers start to go a little quicker. If the Cardinals trade out of 4, give it to the Vikings take QB here. If the Chargers go offensive line, which is totally in the cards for Harbaugh, the way Harbaugh's been talking about Joe Alt and different players and offensive line pieces, then you start going, where's Marvin Harrison Jr. go? This would be absolutely ludicrous if Marvin Harrison Jr. fell to 6. Then the trigger effect's different. So much of what you're looking at, everything is dependent on what one team does before the next, one foot in front of the other. And as much as everyone wants to pretend that they know what's good for the Chargers, or they know what's good for the Cardinals, or they know what's good for this team or that team, they don't, because teams do whatever the hell they want. And fan bases are crushed, and they have their arms up in shock every draft. The Buffalo Bills, if you want a funny story, the Buffalo Bill fans were irate when the Bills drafted Josh Allen because they didn't know what time it is. Your boy Smitty said Josh Allen will be a top 1 to 5 quarterback before he even took an NFL snap. Your boy Smitty was all over that. Your boy Smitty was all over that. My thing here real quickly, and let me just end on the Bills thing and say that the Bills are going to solve the wide receiver problem. Everybody's judging Josh Allen and the Bills for what they have right now in the wide receiver room. That is foolish. They're going to solve it. They're going to solve it, and I believe they're going to solve it in a big way. And I said that from the beginning of this offseason in January. They'd trade Diggs potentially and bring in some fresh new reset of Stefan Diggs. What's the reset? Is it Leggett? You know, do they sit on the pick and say, let's just draft one at 28? Let's get Xavier Leggett. Love him. What about Malachi Corley? Love him. What about Keon Coleman? What about A.D. Mitchell? Those are all good options, right? Or do they solve it in a bigger, flashier way? They could. As far as Lamb, I think it's a little crazy to assume he's going to get traded or anything like that. Is it possible? There's a world where it exists, but it's a very unlikely scenario. Is there a world where Dak Prescott gets traded? A little more likely, but still a very unlikely scenario to map out. Crazier things have happened. Dak is not getting extended. That says something about how the team values him, though. You know, like, is he attainable in a trade for an offer that the Cowboys cannot refuse, where they can bring in a rookie? Absolutely. Certainly capable, 100% capable of being traded. It's just not the highest likelihood. But if an offer came in that was too good to refuse, Dak would have to approve it. Dak would want to be on board that scenario. I think the Raiders would be one that Dak would be down for. Especially, keep in mind, when someone says Dak isn't going to approve any trade, why would he want to move? He wants a contract. If, let's say, the Raiders came in and offered the Cowboys an offer they couldn't refuse, they said, look, and here's how the conversation would go. And if you want to fight me on that Dak can't get traded, I'll take away all your ammunition right here. If I'm calling up and I'm the Raiders and I say, hey, Dallas, is Jerry there? Hey, this is Jerry Jones. I don't know what I'm doing. How can I help you? Yeah, this is Pierce, bro. We would like Dak Prescott. Oh, he's not for sale. Well, then why aren't you extending him? Oh, well, we're just kind of, taking it year to year at this moment in time. Well, if he was the real deal, you would extend him. How about I give you an offer you can't refuse? Okay, well, what is that? Does that save me a whole bunch of money where I don't have to do anything? Yeah, absolutely. Let's give you some rookies, young rookie QB. You can reset the room. We'll go ahead and take Dak. Put Dak on the phone. Yeah, this is Dak Prescott. Hi, this is Pierce. You want to come to LV and play with Devontae Adams and Zamir White and Michael Mayer? Michael Mayer? Well, that sounds good. They're not paying me here in Dallas. Yeah, this is Antonio Pierce again. Yeah, we definitely will pay you. Why would we trade you if we don't have a contract already mapped out? You're telling me I could either I could stay in Dallas, deny a trade request, right, and not get my extension, or you're going to offer me this deal right here. If I approve the trade, you'll pay me this bank type of contract right here, right now. I'll Smitty approve. I'll Smitty approve that trade right. If Dak gets presented with a trade like LV, he's getting a fat contract with it. That's why Dak would say okay to a trade. That's why it doesn't matter. Dak's not shooting down nothing. Ask yourself, if they believed in Dak enough not to move him if the price was right, they would extend him. Dak also has a no franchise tag clause. So Dallas is going to lose him anyway. Think about it. Dak is potentially one of the more likely big name players to get traded. If we were to kick around big name players that are unlikely to get traded, he is the most likely of the unlikely to get traded. Because if he's not getting his deal, the receiving team would give it to him. Therefore, he's ready to sign off right now for a big fat check. He's got a no franchise tag clause. The Dallas Cowboys are losing him next year. Even if they do very well but don't go super far, he's tired of living in the shadow of doubt. He's tired of being ridiculed and criticized. It's big pressure in Dallas. He wants a fresh start. I know he loves Ceedee Lamb, but he would want to go somewhere. It's certainly a possibility. It's just a matter of how likely is it all to go down. Not likely, but either was Tyreek Hill getting traded out of KC. Not likely it happened. Either was really, at the time, Russell Wilson getting sent to Denver, which didn't work out. Not likely ended up happening. Diggs getting traded at all this offseason, given that it would cost the team money. That wasn't likely to happen. Everybody told me I was a moron for saying that Stefan Diggs was going to be sent packing. Either in some sort of crazy release, but most likely in a trade. Smitty, nobody will acquire Diggs' contract. No one saw the Diggs trade happening but us. And nobody saw, including me, this contract going away and turning a 4-year deal into a 1-year deal, voiding 3 of the remaining years and turning his deal into a 1-year contract. No one saw that coming. I don't want to hear one time that someone knows what's going to happen. We're all guesstimating here. These are educated guesses. Nobody knows exactly what's going to happen. It's all educated guesses, probabilities, conversations, potential outcomes, potential ideas, kicking around smoke. Nobody knew Diggs would be on a 1-year deal in Houston. No, a lot of people didn't even know it was possible. Some of the most astute minds in the game didn't even cross their mind. It didn't cross my mind. I'll admit it. It didn't cross my mind. As the biggest advocate of Diggs getting out, it didn't cross my mind that Diggs saw it as a benefit for him to move his deal into a 1-year contract situation. It didn't even cross my mind. No one knows. No one knows. Dial in.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
Hope everybody protected their eyes today as they stared up at the eclipse. Odell Beckham Jr. in 2017 looked at the eclipse without any protection. There's an Instagram story I have on it where this man is like looking at the sun, and how long can I stare at this thing? And then his career just went withered away like fairy dust. Matt says Fields is a good fantasy QB, not a good real-life QB. That's no offense, Matt. I appreciate you, pal, and we can always disagree. It doesn't make you or me a bad person because we don't see eye to eye on this. But I think this is a gross overreaction to a player that has never been able to be supported yet. So we're going to see how good of a NFL and fantasy QB and resilient QB Fields is in Pittsburgh. And I think that judging him based on the situation that we're about to see Caleb enter, Chicago, not supportive of their quarterback and rookie QB, not a good place to develop or mold or sculpt a quarterback, a rookie quarterback. You're about to see what Fields really endured. And you're about to see, in my opinion, Fields get supported properly. And I know Arthur Smith is a potential eyesore at surface level, at a glance over in Pittsburgh, but it's Mike Sullivan, we believe. Until I am told otherwise, I'm going to assume, based on what I've looked into, that Mike Sullivan's running the passing attack. Mike Sullivan, the same guy that took Mason Rudolph and kind of turned him into a red-nosed reindeer for a little while last year and got promoted in the offseason. Now, he didn't get promoted to OC. He should have been. Arthur Smith, I don't know if his daddy had some pull over at FedEx and said, no more packages to Pittsburgh if you don't hire my son in name as OC and put him in the back with a red stapler in the basement even. I don't know how this played out, but I do know Mike Sullivan feels like he's actually the guy in charge, especially to the pass in the passing attack. It feels a lot like Zach Robinson, who's now OC in Atlanta. Zach Robinson in Atlanta. This guy, Zach Robinson. Let me tell you something about little Zach. Zach Robinson. Zach Robinson in Atlanta is going to turn this offense into something you've never seen before in your life. Something your papa and your daddy told you stories about. Zach Robinson over in LAR in that Rams offense, just turning Puka Nacua into a monster. Cooper Kupp per start was fantastic. Kyron Williams was all over the place. Zach Robinson very used to one running back. Very used to one running back. So you love that for Bijan. But Zach Robinson, ladies and gentlemen, this guy was the QB coordinator, but in charge in a lot of ways in that Rams offense. This is very similar for Mike Sullivan in Pittsburgh. And you doubt Fields all you want, son. You doubt him all you want, but you're in for a real treat. Get your popcorn ready. I hope you're going to enjoy the show. I hope you like suspense movies, because Fields is coming for the job. He's coming to take Russ's job. Russ better get worried, because it's coming. Russ is going to be having a guy named Fields nipping at his heels like no other. 170 of you in the building here. 118 from YouTube. Punch the thumb up button. 53 from Instagram. 53 from Twitter. And I don't know how many are in IG are still here. Dial in. Ceedee Lamb, Dak Prescott, Josh Allen, Buffalo Bills, wide receivers, JD5. And might I also add, JD5 had this to say. He runs a 4.25 40. If anybody didn't know, let me play that little beauty right here.
4.28. When I was up there training for my 40, I ran a 4.25. I ran a 4.33 official.
So JD5 ran a 4.25. A 4.25 is what JD5 runs. A 4.25. I don't know about you guys, but I'm feeling pretty good about our Saturn men.
The Saturn men.
Look it up.
One small step for man, one giant leap for Saturn.
And the Moon Men.
The Moon Man.
Penix Jr.
Dropping loads and
I agree with Ron Navy, who called in the other day and said one of his favorite, and he was so against my Penix Jr. take at first. He liked Penix Jr., but he's like, I think he's going to fail. Ron's calling in right now. I really liked Ron's take the other night, where Ron can come in and tell you how, he really feels a week later, even if he said something. But I agree with Ron. I think Penix Jr. is going to be one of the fun takes that this channel's had, because it was so far out in front, and it was before he took the dip. Like, Penix Jr. had a little bit of hype behind him, but it was like, is he a first rounder? Is he not? And then he goes out the national championship game after he already cracked the Moon Men list, and crapped the bed in a lot of people's minds, got out of the first round in so many people's mindsets, and then now he's slowly climbed his way back into the top 10, 11, top 6. Some people say he's the second ranked quarterback, like I've been saying all offseason. So it'll be interesting to see where he climbs in the coming days. Travis has been waiting a little while on the phone line, then Ron Navy just dialed in. Travis, what's going on, pal?
Hey, what's going on?
What's up?
Just on the Ceedee Lamb topic, if I don't think it'll happen, but if there was a world where him and JJ signed before the draft, I think Aiyuk definitely gets traded. And I think if one of them, even just one of them signs, I think there's like a really good chance that Aiyuk ends up getting traded, because I don't think the 49ers are going to go any higher than whatever number they have in their mind. And I think they'll take draft picks for him, and think they can, at least Shanahan, maybe Lynch or ownership will force it on him, but
yeah,
I know Shanahan will think he can take one of these receivers and replace Aiyuk with him.
Hey, real quick note. I caught it later when I rewatched the IG live between JD5, Malik Neighbors, and Brian Thomas Jr., BT. They were all on the IG live last night. I played several clips of it so far. There was a point where, right when they got on the live stream together, Malik Neighbors kept saying, "You guys aren't even going to believe where Jayden Daniels is going. You won't even believe where he's going." And JD5 kept saying, "You going to do it like that, huh? You're going to do it like that?" Like it looked like he was trying to get him to stop talking. And then he goes, "He's going to he's probably going to be playing with his old boy." And so everyone was like, "What?" And then that's all they talked about, and then they veered off it. And everybody's been speculating. If anybody has a good guess, go ahead. But a lot of people were trying to say that Boutte over in New England is who he was talking about. And so there's a lot of talk about New England, but that's Washington. He'd have to know that Washington wasn't super interested or have some weird vibe. If that were true, I don't know that we can connect any dots on that at all. I think that based on Adam Peters' knowledge of scouting and players, and the fact that the whole world's caught up to what we've been saying the entire time, that JD5 is him, and JD5 wasn't the number 2 quarterback or number 1 quarterback for that matter, like he's been on this channel the entire offseason, but he wasn't even the number 2, in some cases wasn't even the number 3 for a lot of people for majority of the offseason. It was Drake May, then it was J.J. McCarthy even climbed above him. But now the consensus really is that JD5's pretty much the number 2. Some they're even talking about Penix Jr., but JD5's the number 2. I feel pretty good about the fact that the rest of the world's catching up to JD5. A lot of people even say he's the number 1. What's his name on ESPN? Freaking forget his name. Even said that he would draft JD5 if he was the Chicago Bears at number 1, and I totally agree, but don't want that. I clearly don't want that because they'll fail him. Mm-hmm. But I feel pretty good about Adam Peters taking JD5 based on knowing Adam Peters, knowing Kingsbury, knowing that they want this awesome weapon, knowing how good Kingsbury did at times with Kyler. People can crap on Kingsbury in Arizona all they want. He was a head coach. He had a lot more responsibilities. This is kind of like the Shanahan is a bad head coach, but great OC. And Kingsbury, right. The same kind of concept is, did he get overwhelmed? But he did play well with Kyler, and they had a good situation for a while. The Cardinals through, I believe, week 8 or so, or week 9 of that one special year, was the number 1 team in football. There was no one even close. Everyone said the Cardinals were the number 1 team in the entire league through 8-9 games. They were undefeated. They were the last remaining undefeated team, if I remember correctly. And Kingsbury had him humming. So I think Kingsbury. Oh yeah. The fact that the rest of the world's catching up, and JD5 is already everyone's pretty much number 2 and some people's number 1, and that Adam Peters is responsible for making this decision, I think JD5 is going to Washington. But it was interesting anyway, and I thought you'd get a kick out of hearing them try and tie them to different locations and stuff. But
yeah, the only thing I could say to that is that, one of those guys may follow or listen or agree with something that, because there's a few analysts or writers or whatever out there that still think Washington is taking May. Most people have swung around to the JD5 side of it, I think. But so it could have just been something as simple as that, you know, or like you said, unless they know something. But
I can't.
Either way, I just want the Patriots to just stay and take JD5 or May, and I'll be happy. That's what
I'd love for somebody to listen to JD5 talk and Caleb talk side by side, and literally, unless they're a Bear fan, because a Bear fan's going to defend it, try and tell me that they can envision, as weird as this exercise is, because there's talent, there's physical skills, there's all that. I get all that. But there's something about watching somebody command an interview, command a room of people, command a workout, whatever. You tell me that JD5 doesn't absolutely just bleed confidence and leadership and all of that, and you look over at Caleb and you say to yourself, this just feels like a project, and he doesn't feel like he's going to walk into an NFL room, maybe college, and I'm not saying he didn't lead his entire team in college and do a good job with what he had, but you expect this guy to walk into a locker room full of veterans with the Hollywood look and the whole like persona that he brings to the table. It's all Hollywood, it's all showboat type mentality. You think he's going to walk in and command that room? JD5 is going to go in and command respect. JD5 is the real freaking deal, and I can't believe that this is even a debate, to be honest with you. The only reason it's a debate, I think, is because Chicago's sitting at the 1 pick and they don't know what the hell they're doing. I hope to God they don't know what they're doing at the wide receiver position at number 9 overall. I hope they do something crazy and take like Worthy. You know, not that Worthy's an absolute lock to bust, but that would be a move that I would scream and jump in the air and go, thank God! Let them take Worthy. Let them take this experiment. It seems very Chicago-like.
What is Keenan Allen only signed for 1 year, or is he a couple years?
I'll look up his
I got it
contract.
right here. Yeah, he's a free agent after next year. So they definitely. I know people think they could take a wide receiver there anyway, but they may just be looking at Keenan Allen as a good 1 year. 1 or 2 year thing with a young quarterback.
They have the franchise tag opportunity on the table. I don't see a clause in his deal. So like, let's say but we all know, I know a lot of people that just kind of, I think, don't look at it like we look at it, are going to think he's capable of balling out and being franchise tag material, but not at the age of 87 years old. It's just not likely. Aiyuk to Washington for Terry and a pick. Good luck, Donnie, but you never know. Ron, you're live.
What's up, Ron?
What's going on?
Not much, man.
What's up?
Yeah, I just Caleb Williams will be going number 1, but he's not the number 1.
No,
he's lucky to be the number 6.
I think he's not even my number 4. he's not even my number 4 quarterback. Also, real quickly, let me just answer this real quick. Bobby 2 Pops says no one's taking Worthy that high. No way. Well, guess who's meeting with the Chicago Bears? Worthy. Okay, so you know, take what you want from that, Bobby. Go ahead, Ron.
Bobby.
They could do that to trade out too. So.
Bobby, they could trade down, Bobby. They could trade down, Bobby. Smitty disapprove.
Oh, Lord.
Sorry, Bobby. What do you think about the likelihood of Dak getting traded? It's again, prefacing that this is a very, very, very unlikely thing to happen. Like, super unlikely.
Well, Ron said he thinks that he resigned, right?
Yeah, Ron did say he thinks that they will sign him, but I mean, I've heard. You know what? I heard another person reference the Raiders in the conversation when JD5 and the boys were kicking around ideas, and when they read it, they're reading off all the locations that everybody was talking about, and the Raiders came up, and he had some odd behaviors when he was reading the Raiders. I was trying to read JD5's mind. I think the Raiders need to be strongly considered as a potential move up. I just don't know that Washington or New England want to move the pick at all at this point. If they were to, the Raiders would probably be right now, Minnesota and the Raiders would be my top projected teams to get that second or third overall pick. And I think JD5 to the Raiders would be unbelievable. It'd be great.
Here's my feeling. If Dak can't get Dallas with all the weapons that he's had in the past, and he can't get to where they need to go, change of scenery is not going to do no good. I mean, Raiders don't have, any better weapons than he's got already. I mean, you can compare Ceedee Lamb's, an outstanding wide receiver, right? And then you got complementary parts. So if he were to get traded, I don't see him having any success with the Raiders.
Yeah,
right?
I think that's a different convo. It's a convo we can have now too, though. But it's a different convo of whether it would work, whether it work or whether he get traded. I also don't think Dak is a great quarterback. I think he's probably in his best fantasy football production situation. Do I think maybe, though, he could be a better version of himself outside of a doubted in his head? Feels like, kind of feels like I think Cousins probably felt for a while. I feel like Dak and Cousins are in very similar shoes. Or at least Dak is in the shoes that Cousins was just in, where the team is constantly questioning you in public. There's always the fan base is questioning you. The entire league is questioning you. You're so good in regular season games. You're so good in these scenarios, but why does the team keep losing? And I think that Cousins, like Dak, gets more blame than they should. And I think that they get tired of being second choice by the team. And Dak has been a lot less second choice than Cousins. I think Cousins had to deal with all kinds of rumors of trading up for AR5. The Vikings were very much interested in that. There was constant, do we get rid of Cousins? So I think Cousins finally said, I had it. I want a different scenario. I want to finish my career in a different light. And I just think Dak would be very, very open to it. And maybe in Dallas, when he didn't have to make all of the decisions and it's not all on him, he's a pretty good quarterback. I would say Dak is not great. Great to me is top 5 or 6. Dak's not great, but Dak is a good quarterback. Like, you put him in the Niners system, you're going to get very similar production that Brock Purdy's producing. You put him in, in any scenario, like even the Cardinals situation, you get really good production out of him in Arizona, throwing to Marvin Harrison Jr., let's say. But do I think he's a game changer by himself? Can he do what Lamar can do? Can he do what Josh Allen can do? Can he do what Mahomes can do? No. But you put him in LV, I think it's not bad. I think you might get a better version of Dak that can maybe win a little bit better because he's not going to be asked to carry the team all by himself. Jerry Jones, if he would have brought in Derrick Henry, and Derrick Henry actually preferred, and he openly said this, which was so weird that he said it after he signed with Baltimore. He said that I thought it would be the perfect situation, but the Dallas Cowboys never picked up the phone and called me. Never picked up the phone. Didn't even holler at me. Didn't even attempt to bring me in or have a conversation with me. And that was where Henry wanted to go. And Jerry Jones didn't give Dak anything to work with. So I blame Dak, but I also don't blame Dak. I doubt Dak, but I also kind of wonder how good he could be if he was supported properly. This is not support. He's getting shoved right back into the same situation with a different kind of pressure that I think won't be good for him. The pressure of no contract. The pressure of now you're fighting for your life. The pressure of not only are you fighting for your life, but your coach is fighting for your life and his life, because we're not going to extend either one of you. You're in the same bucket together. Now go do something and keep your jobs. I don't know if that's a proper way to shove Dak in a proper productive place to put Dak and McCarthy when they don't even give the rushing attack a boost at all. And maybe they draft the right rookie. We'll see. But
here's the thing: Dak is a great regular season quarterback. He's a terrible postseason quarterback. I mean, he took
so was
the Cowboys.
Cousins.
He did all this stuff. He was also injured, and remember last year. I mean, beginning of the year. Remember, we were all over. Ceedee Lamb was dropping everything thrown to him.
But so was Cousins.
We were all over Ceedee Lamb.
Cousins was not a good playoff quarterback either, and it's not. You can't blame it all on Cousins. It's a combination of different things. It just so happens they can't carry. These guys aren't the kind of guys that are supposed to carry the team through 3-4 consecutive wins by themselves. Like
Here's the difference. Cousins didn't have a defense. Dak's got a defense. He's had a defense. So where Cousins, the teams that they're playing are running up the score. Dallas has had a defense to back up Prescott, and he's just dropped the ball in the postseason.
I think they're fairly comparable, though.
Garrett says Cowherd's saying that Daniels is going to Washington at the 2 for sure. What are my thoughts? You should be asking him. Hey, Smitty said Daniels is going to Washington for sure at number 2. What do you think of Smitty's comments, Garrett? Because I've been saying it longer than he has. Of course I think that's happening. I just talked about it for 10, 15 minutes. Dak tries too hard in the playoffs, Prime says it's embarrassing. I don't know. I don't think you can put it all on him, though. I really, I think that there's blame to be spread around. Dallas did him no favors. They didn't support him. He had to do everything himself. Just like Lamar failed. Lamar was the NFL reigning MVP walking into this playoff loss, right? He was magical. He's going to do it all. And he faltered one game, and everybody took away all the accolades all season long. How many more doubting comments did you hear about Lamar after this loss than positive? Didn't it feel like Lamar got crapped on like crazy after this loss? See, he fails at the big game. He's not that good.
Choke artist.
Choke artist. When he literally got right here. He literally got right here playing like an NFL MVP all year long. Everybody riding the train, acting like he's the best thing ever. And then now all of a sudden you hear nothing but doubters. He needed something. He couldn't carry at every stage. He needed somebody to take the reins at some point. He needed to falter a little bit and lean on someone else. That's why you have to have somebody. Josh Allen can't keep doing it either. Mahomes is the only one that kind of does it, but he's got Kelsey. He's got other people as well.
That's like Lamar lost Andrews. He lost, I know we thought he was going to get hurt, but he lost Dobbins, who was technically their number one running back. And his number one receiver was a rookie in Zay Flowers. And so, he kind of carried them, and he still got crap. And same with Josh Allen carried them into the playoffs, too. Yeah, likely played
Lamar,
well, for sure.
A lot. Lamar was fumbling the ball a lot. He couldn't hold on to the ball when he ran. That's one of his worst.
Still playing amazing, though. We would.
Oh. But everybody expected him to take out the Kelsey Swifty combo, and he was unable to do it. So he let a lot of people down. So a lot of people were giving him crap because everybody expected them to take out Kansas City, and he didn't get it done.
Diggs is out there working with C.J. Stroud right now. There's video footage of them catching passes. I will say Diggs doesn't look... He looks like he's carrying a few extra LBs. I don't know. I'm not sure. He doesn't look super, super quick on his routes right here. And it's really early. It's the first couple routes we've seen, but I'm just giving my initial reaction. I don't know. I really think Diggs is going to disappoint people hardcore.
He's going to go in there, and he's going to be talking all positive. He's going to be all positive. He's going to do his little NFL interviews and be positive and all that. But as soon as he's not getting the ball enough, or other guys are getting the touchdowns, he's not getting enough touchdowns, then the toxicity is just gonna. He can't help himself.
Yeah.
He can't help himself.
Colts are. Oh God, I love this news. Colts are eyeing up a trade to get Brock Bowers. Who knows how accurate this report is? Let me just tell you, the Colts are not going to telegraph this. Would anybody telegraph what they're going to do in their fantasy football trade? Guys, I just want to let everybody know my goal over the next couple days is to trade up to get Brock Bowers at number 5 overall in the fantasy football rookie draft. Just want to let everybody know. Get ready for it. Good job. Good idea, Steve. Good idea, Steve. We wish you luck. So take it with a grain of salt, but this is what we've been wanting. We've been talking about this landing spot, whether this is a Dunze, trading up, obviously. Trading up for a Dunze, trading up for Brock Bowers, trading up for Malik Neighbors, trading up for Brian Thomas Jr., or Brian Thomas Jr. falling to this 15. Indy getting that pass catcher, whether it's via tight end or a wide receiver, would be absolutely marvelous. Love to see that. Love to see that. Brock Bowers, man. Chargers are definitely in the mix too, because it seems like I feel like they're not going Neighbors. I don't know. We'll see.
The NFL Network. Do you see what they did? They're acting like ESPN. They just had a bloodbath of firings.
Yeah. Andrew
Filiano, Palmer, all gone. They're all gone. Fired.
Yep. So Bears are visiting with Combine sensation Xavier Worthy today. Per my earlier conversation when we blasted whatever comment that was and said there's no way the Bears are taking Xavier Worthy that high, Smitty. They can't do it. They can't do it. Well, they're meeting with him today, and they obviously could trade down. So Texans wide receiver is going to be hit and miss nightmare next season, says D-Town. I kind of feel like, the way that I think I'm looking at this wide receiver room for the Texans is that it used to be. Let me write it on here. It used to be 1B and 1B, Tank and Nico. They couldn't be 1A and 1A because they're just both too good. So they were 1B and 1B. I kind of think all three of them are going to be 2A, 2A, 2A. So it's going to be, tough to really bank on these guys from any sort of consistent perspective until, let's say, Diggs gets injured and then they can return to 1B, 1B. But I don't think there's any 1B or 1A wide receiver here, because we already saw Tank and Nico rotating to the point where people were arguing, by midseason, who's the number one. And if people remember correctly, their memories are foggy, the lean was Tank. But right before Tank got injured, the lean of who the wide receiver one was in Houston was Tank Dell.
Yep.
That's where the lean was. You can remember it however you want, but that's where the lean was. And so these guys have the rapport with with Stroud. There's no way that Diggs is going to walk in and take their reps. It's more about what can Diggs do from this new position that he'll be playing, which might we remember was a pretty productive wide receiver 3 at times last year from what's his face. What was that guy's name? Damn it. Do I have him on the wide receiver? I think I might have him on here.
Noah Brown.
Noah Brown.
Yeah,
Noah Brown was actually pretty crafty and productive from time to time. So like Diggs is walking into a spotty but potentially good amount of targets.
And Robert Woods actually ran the highest percentage of routes out of the slot too.
Bobby Trees.
So there is enough balls to go around. There's enough balls to go around between the three of them.
Yeah, Bobby Trees.
It's a matter of, if one of them pulls away.
Yeah, well, so I don't think there's a world where he can be wide receiver, like a fantasy football wide receiver 1. I think Diggs is a high-end 2 if he stays healthy. And the other thing, too, is people will say, hey, Smitty, I think you're wrong. Diggs still has another year left. That might be the case, and I've very much admitted that could be possible. Good. But you have two things that are happening, though. Diggs either dog-walked last year, the second half of the season, because he was probably top 1 or 2 overall wide receiver through week 7 or 8 or whatever it was.
Amazing,
and then he was absolutely phenomenal. Like, we got to give Diggs his props. He was electric his first half of the season last year. And then he was absolute dog water the entire second half of the year. So one of two things happened. He either dog walked his entire second half and showed his true character and didn't even play tough football when his team was in playoff hunt mode, in the playoffs, trying to win a Super Bowl, and he dog walked the entire second half of the season, including the playoffs, including all the way up to that final game. He either showed his true colors and was that bad of a teammate and that unmotivated of a person and that bad of an athlete, or he dropped off. There's really only one of those two scenarios. Both of those say a lot about what to expect in 2024, in my opinion. Like, I don't think there's a world where you say, well, he was kind of banged up, or he wasn't really all that banged up. And you can't say, oh, it was just a bad environment for him. He thrived in the first half of the season. And he's been living there for quite some time. He's had residency in that Buffalo Bill offense for quite some time. There's no non-fit, or Josh Allen tried to trust him. He was unhappy. Whatever the case may be, you either have a player that's going to give up on you in Houston, as Travis just said, and as Ron has said, he's going to cause problems at some point, be a crybaby at some point, or he faked the entire year, second half of the season, and that's not a good sign. Either one is bad. There's no real good way to paint this. You can't. You're just hopeful. Stroud's going to eat. I also can't explain why Stroud's value isn't climbing. I know people like to wait on a quarterback. I get that whole concept, but here are the values and ADPs of Nico, Dell, and Diggs. Diggs is a second rounder at 22 overall. Nico's a second rounder at 20 overall still. I can't wrap my head around that. Dell is still bottom around 3. Yet Stroud is, and this was a day or two ago, Stroud is floating right behind Mahomes, but tied with them really, 51.9. You're talking about like 50s, in the 50s. I don't get it. I will say that when Stroud moves ahead of Mahomes, when he probably will over the course of the next month, I'm going to love it. Mahomes is going to be probably my win-a-league player. Anywhere outside of the first 2 rounds, he's probably my number 1 go-get player in 2024 fantasy football, because what ends up happening, let me put that back on screen, what ends up happening when a quarterback climbs like this, they don't just both sit where Stroud climbs. Usually if Stroud climbs to replace Mahomes, Mahomes will also drop, because there's only so much like room. Picture it like a train car, and there's only so many people that can be in car number 1, which is round 1. There's only so many QBs that can be in car number 2. Only so many QBs that can be in car number 3. And if Stroud's going to climb into a whole nother car where Mahomes is, Mahomes might drop into the next car. And this is kind of the way that ADP spaces out, especially with quarterbacks, where only so many people are going to think quarterback early. A lot of people, we had a caller the other day that said, take Bryce Young. Like, what? We're really going near Bryce Young? You don't need to go near Bryce Young. Look at the quarterbacks on screen. You're gonna start talking about Bryce Young? What do you need Bryce Young for? Brock Purdy's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. You're talking about 11, 12. Aaron Rodgers isn't even on screen. You got, where's Kirk Cousins on here? Is Kirk Cousins even listed on this? No, he's not even in the top 12 quarterbacks listed on Underdog ADP. We're gonna talk about Bryce Young? If you're drafting Bryce Young to even remotely help your team, you're missing the point. You don't need to wait that long on a quarterback. What in the hell are you doing? Thank you, Roger. Appreciate you.
Hey, the second airdrop just went down about 10 minutes ago.
Oh, yeah. Guys, Underdog Fantasy is giving away $1 million tonight, and the second airdrop just happened. All you have to do is have an Underdog account. I'm going to drop the link. If you want a chance at getting some of the $1 million they're dropping during the final airdrop, click this right here, this link right here, Underdog Fantasy. Not only can you double up to your first deposit up to $100 by hitting the link using code Smitty, but all you have to do is have an account, and they're about to do more airdrops right now. And all you have to do is have the account. So click the link, use code Smitty, And the final airdrop, I should have said that at the beginning of the show. Final airdrop's coming in. See if you got anything. Ron, did you get anything? Travis, did you get anything? Did anybody in the chat get an airdrop from Underdog?
I haven't checked a second. I didn't earlier.
Just drafted Dell at 3.11. I don't like it. I don't think Dell. I'm not going near Dell, Nico, or Diggs right now. I love Dell, bro, but I'm not taking him that high. I'm just not. Hurts and Lamar, Allen got the rushing, and Mahomes is Mahomes, says Matt. The rushing matters, it does, but at the same time, Stroud could still outscore running quarterbacks if he throws for 45 touchdowns, bro. You also have a shorter field now walking into this season because of the kickoff, rule changes. So you have a shorter field. You have more potential for a higher scoring game. And I don't know that it messes with yardage too much because you're going to be back on the field quicker. So, more possessions probably. So I don't know that I think it's just going to be a higher scoring game. Less punts, which will be good. Passing game in Dynasty. I'm stacking Houston passing game in Dynasty. It could be fun, Space Ricky. It could be fun. Check your Underdog accounts again, guys. Underdog's dropping over $1 million into random accounts, up to $1 million total dollars into random accounts via airdrop. It just means that if you got your account and you're set up, they'll just drop a random amount of money. Sometimes people will get $20, $100. Obviously, they could do huge amounts. I don't know the total amounts that they may or may not drop. But Underdog, we've had people get multiple drops before too. One guy got 10 or 20 and he's like, yeah, I only got 10 or 20. Then he got another airdrop the next time. So you're not limited to just one. They did the first airdrop. They're doing the final airdrop at halftime. So you still have plenty of time. You got 19 minutes to get your Underdog account. The link is in the description of the video. The link is right here. You have 19 minutes to just click this link and take 2 minutes to sign up, and you'll be ready to go for the final airdrop. And hopefully you get a big amount of money just deposited, airdropped right into your account. The score is, what's the score? 0-0?
I didn't get any airdrops.
Smitty, I got to jump. I'm going to watch the rest off the phone, all right?
Okay, appreciate it, Travis. Thank you, pal. All right, Ron, I might jump here too in a second. You got anything else you want to add real quick before we may get out here a little early? I'll come back though after the game.
No, I don't got nothing else.
You think Lamb gets an extension before there's any sort of like issues that maybe arise? I think they're temporary. It's not like he's not going to show up, but do you think Lamb gets extended off the pressure of this?
They'll definitely take care of Lamb before they take care of Prescott, I think.
Yeah.
That's what they did last time when Prescott was wanting to get a deal, and they kept pushing him off. They took care of everybody else first, and then they finally took care of Prescott.
I just wonder if Jerry's true to his word, and you can never take Jerry true to his word, but if he's true to his word that he's not going to do anything until next year, like this is about 2024. He doesn't know what he wants for the team.
Well, we already know he's not true to his word because he said,
I know,
money's not an object. He's going to make all these. They didn't do anything, so
yeah.
Already he's not a word.
Yeah, that's true. But I do wonder if he's kind of in that mindset where he's like, look, we're just going to attack 2024. I'll address everything else next offseason. Do what you want to do. Hold out if you want. I don't care. Like, we'll see. We all know Lamb's not going to not play, but the problem is if a player holds out to an extreme degree, they get injured. It's just the nature of your body not being ready. You're not in tune. You're not in sync with the team. You struggle with rapport no matter how comfortable Dak and Lamb are. Dak's already going to be playing mind games on himself. So it's kind of a concern. You never want your player to hold out in fantasy because they're far more likely to get injured. All right, Ron, we'll talk to you later, pal.
And these teams, I mean, like San Francisco and what Dallas is doing, I mean, you want some sort of harmony coming in through the draft and coming into the new season, you want to have some harmony. You don't want all this baggage that you got to deal with going into a new season. And so I don't understand it.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. Ron, appreciate you, pal.
Yep, later.
All right, later, bro. Call in tonight. All right, well, that's it for now. Hour, 9-minute show, probably one of our shorter shows in a long time, which is still longer than most people drop on a daily basis. But, we want to come back tonight, so I'm going to end it now, get some food, watch this game. Please hit this link right here again. I'm going to drop it again, Underdog Fantasy. Promo code Smitty. They'll drop over $1 million tonight total into random Underdog accounts. That is the link right there. I just dropped it. I'll pin it right now on the way out the door. This is the Underdog link. Hit it. They'll double your first deposit up to $100, but also you have a shot at getting some of this $1 million airdrop action. They're doing the final airdrop at halftime. There's 17 minutes left in the game. Hit the link. Do it live. Get your account. I would love to know if any of you guys win. And please come back and tell me if you got any money, if you got any airdrops. Hit the link. Get the account. You just need an account to get the airdrop. The chance of airdrop. Dynasty tonight, probably. Scott says Smitty needs sleep. Why do I need sleep? What on earth makes you think I need sleep, pal? Hold out, we dem boys, says Sam. I don't know what that means. Space Ricky, you're the wizard with the trade. What does Space Ricky do? Did he make a good trade? All right, guys, I'll see you all after the game. Hopefully you get an airdrop. Hopefully you guys get some cash money from Underdog. Links pinned in the live chat. Just open the account so you can maybe get the airdrop. See you all in a little bit.
Get lambed. Get lambed. Get lambed.
Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern, every single Monday through Friday. Live when big news breaks. See you all tonight. Probably on the main channel. Thank you, Matt. Appreciate you. Probably on the main channel. And then probably on the Dynasty channel as well. I imagine kind of doing 2 shows tonight. One, some sort of breaking news show. There's a lot of stuff to still talk about. And a lot of breakouts that I still want to do videos on. Even if we don't have a piece of breaking news, I might just do... Thank you, Matt. Appreciate you. I might just do some sort of, bold prediction show or something. Maybe we drop a Moon Man. Something like that tonight. But then we'll also be back for the Dynasty content. Maybe we do the Dynasty show on mobile. On a vertical pole show. Out and about on the streets of Phoenix right before I do a run. Space Ricky to the moon. Travis to the moon. Ron to the moon. Space Ricky. Peanut butter and waivers. Or peanut butter and jelly. Matt Slater, appreciate you. Matt O, appreciate you. Prime, see you later. Take a lap, take a lap. Take a lap, take a lap.
We interrupt this program to bring you a special message from the Bruce's mother.
Get Bijan.
Again, hit the link. It's pinned in the live chat. Underdog Fantasy. Don't miss this airdrop action. There's the link one more time. You got like 10 minutes to get your Underdog account. Takes 1-2 minutes to sign up. $10 minimum. And they'll double your first deposit up to $100. And you'll be eligible for these airdrops. See you all tonight.
Get breached.